Now, obviously, we just got done watching the clip, little beef that was going on between Kendrick Perkins and Draymond Green.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Draymond referred to Kendrick with a derogatory name that is sometimes used against people who are African American.
Absolutely.
And then Kendrick responded in a particular way.
Right.
And basically said, you know, let's handle this like men, or let's handle this like things are handled in the old school way.
Right.
And don't break that code where you can just get away with saying whatever it is that you say.
Whatever it is you're saying.
So what were some initial thoughts just from watching the clip? What did you think?
Well, first and foremost, from coaching and helping kids grow up in the basketball world, in order for a complete team to become champions at the lowest level up into the NBA level, you're going to play with different cultures, you're going to play with different ethnicities, you're going to play with different people. So with that being said, even from a Kendrick Perkins, Draymond Green standpoint, they're still in the same family. And as leaders, meaning Draymond Green, you have to lead by example. You just won your fourth NBA championship, where you have all-time greats who didn't even get close to one. So look at that as a way to use that as a platform to make the children and the people under you want to do better, want to be like you.
And just be grateful.
And just be grateful.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of these NBA players now say that the NBA guys of old are hating on them. It's not so much that they're hating on them. It's just that I think they don't realize that these guys paved the way for them.
Yep. Standing on the shoulders of your predecessors.
That's all. I mean, they all looked up to people. They all looked up to people. And it's the same thing that's happening with them. So it's not that they're hating. What they hate is the fact that they're not doing their due diligence and their job as far as giving back, as far as being great role models.
Yeah.
You know?
That's one thing I like about Shaq is, you know, I didn't always like the on-court antics sometimes, or the talking.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, Shaq really has a lot of respect for the older generation, where
absolutely
he's paying for
George Mikan's funeral.
He
paid for it.
Things of buying old championship rings, so then he can give them back to the guys or put them in a museum or whatnot.
Yep.
So with Draymond, it's interesting. It's not just Draymond, but one thing that I've always not liked about basketball culture is the heavy reliance on talking.
Right.
And sometimes it gets personal. You know, people's
Right.
moms and wives and relatives and kids or whatever, what have you, right? And I think there is a fine line, right? That this is a sport that should be about respect and competition.
Absolutely.
And like you said, it's all one NBA family at the end of the day. And yes, competition should be heated. It should be fierce. But it shouldn't get to the level where you're really thinking about, you know, meeting someone in a dark alley and handling business a particular way, right? Because these are not people who are fighting for their lives. These are guys who are now reached the upper echelons of society.
Absolutely.
Making $20 to $40 million a year. Without endorsements, without shoe deals, without TV deals.
Right.
They're on radio. They're on national TV.
Right.
And in Draymond's case, and in Kendrick Perkins' case,
correct.
Champions.
Correct.
Which all-time superstar greats sometimes don't even get.
That's what I said earlier.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, with the society now, with these gun laws, I'm not going to get into that, but when the children, they're looking for role models. They're looking for leaders. So if they look up to these basketball players, and these basketball players are saying, let's go handle it as men, what do you think these kids are going to say?
Yep, same thing.
What do you think these kids are going to say? So that's where it's very delicate right now, because now in a basketball game, if you say something, if you score a shot against someone and you say something about his mom or say something about his ethnicity or whatever, that might be a fight, because Kendrick said and Draymond said, let's get it on. So you have to, and I'm only saying this because I coach and train kids for a living, and train, you know, young-minded individuals for a living, and just the things that come out their mouth now, I correct as much as possible when I do see that. So when they're looking on TV and looking at the images that they see on TV, they want to emulate who they are. So I just think that, talking smack, I'm all for that. I'm all talking about game, and if you didn't step up to the plate to play, of course, that's going to happen. Motivation is key in sports, but there's got to be a level of respect for the individual, for yourself, for your family. Like for instance, let's talk about in the finals. They were going to Draymond's mom and asking his mom, I thought that, right? Remember that? And when he was doing his things, his mom's going to do nothing but back him.
Yep.
But I don't think that should have got to that level. You know, because they want to know, why is he acting like this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, you know, you have to really look at that. And I'm sure his mom didn't really want to answer that question to millions of people.
Well, he talked about it himself.
He did, right?
Recently, he said that his mom and his lady came up to him basically saying, "Why do you got to act like this?"
Oh wow.
And they were saying, "Why do you got to behave in such a way?" So he was mentioning the repercussions of, because basically JJ Redick asked him like, "Why do you behave like this?"
Right.
And they made a joke out of it, but there was some truth and some seriousness to that conversation. So that's very interesting.
Very interesting,
Yeah.
and just because Kendrick Perkins is paid to do a job, analyze and critique players that play. So unfortunately, he has to say what he feels.
Right.
And Draymond I think he just got signed with TNT. So Draymond's going to be on that tail end. I think they signed him to the TNT family.
I think he's been there for it's been some months. Maybe
it's been some months. Yeah. So he's going to go into that role.
Yep.
Obviously when he retires. So the same thing's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
So, and then the thing is, going back to it, he won the championship. So if you enjoy, because as far as I'm concerned, if I was Draymond, there's nothing that anyone can say to me about anything. I won a championship. Like for instance, when I won a championship at Rucker Park, it was the Jordan year. I was the coach of Team Jordan. Everyone was talking smack. Everyone was talking this. You're not this. You're not that. You didn't win without this. Okay, look at the history. 2010, Rucker Park, I won. I mean, and that's how you nip that in the bud. I don't have to go back and forth with there's legends at Rucker Park. Great coaches, great players that didn't win.
Right.
Okay, I did. And a lot of times, call it luck, call it a player, call it this. But if you fall into, like for instance with Toronto. Toronto's road to win that championship was, I mean, they won.
Right.
They won. KD got hurt, Clay got hurt.
Yep.
Kawhi Leonard hits a shot against the Sixers. That was Game 7.
Yep.
That was Game 7. So I'm just saying, and I'm not taking, it's not an asterisk over Toronto's, they got it. So it's the same thing, I think if the Suns were in the playoffs this year, I think the Suns would have taken a Golden State. But they folded against the Mavericks. But again, Draymond, a lot of people still look up to Draymond, and he's still a figure in the NBA. So he has to take a step back. The podcast is fine. Be positive. That's what we're see. And the whole thing with and I might with the whole Black Lives Matter thing. If you're promoting that and you're all for that, them two saying let's meet in the alley.
That's not a good thing. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't. It's like we contradict. Like you can't do that. And again, even if, let me be clear. Even if it was another person from another culture, you still can't resort to that.
It's real simple, right? If you gotta call a spade. So if you're gonna get upset when someone points out your color or your ethnicity,
correct.
Make sure you're not pointing out the ethnicity or color of others, right? If that makes sense. And also, like, if I don't like your mama jokes, I don't like people to use your mama jokes against me, but then I'm using them against others.
Right.
There's a level of hypocrisy there, right?
Exactly.
So I would say be consistent.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying, and it just doesn't, just doesn't look good as a culture from our standpoint.
Agreed. Yeah.
And they just then we're the ones laughed upon.
Agreed.
Laughed upon.
Yeah. I get it.
We're the ones laughed upon. Like even remember when Shaq and JaVale McGee had that thing, Shaq was ready to. Yeah, but somebody must have told Shaq.
The moms got involved. Both moms.
Oh.
Yeah, so JaVale's mom got involved.
Okay.
And that's where Shaq had that's why I say, Shaq.
Because Shaq went to violence too.
Yeah, Shaq will do things from time to time, but then I'll see a level head can prevail, right? Right. So here, the moms got involved.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Same
know
thing between Chuck and Shaq sometimes where
they
would get heated and their moms know each other. So their moms would get in between and say, like, look, you guys got to calm this down.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, I agree, man. But yeah, definitely these guys, they're rich, they're successful, they're famous.
That's right.
They're still doing real good things for the game of basketball. Even Kendrick Perkins in retirement, he's doing a
He's
great job
on AAU stuff.
And AAU, all the different things, right? I think his son is
a good. Yeah, his son is a good player. Yeah.
So I think this is something that they got to ponder about and think about the blessings that they've been given.
Absolutely.
And we got to get away from this like street culture, right?
Yeah.
Let's take things in the, let's meet here, let's do this in the alley or da 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 da. So I agree.
Yeah, and again, you have to be accountable for your words.
Yep.
You have to be.
Yep.
And I understand where Draymond, well, not so much where Draymond's coming from, but I understand where Kendrick Perkins is coming from. But there's a way to address that to Draymond, to let Draymond know it's the bigger picture here.
Got it, man. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and again, some things can go overboard where you just can't take it at the time. And like you said, cooler heads prevail. Maybe he should have took, a deep breath and waited a couple of days and ask some advisors, what some scholars. What would you do in this situation? This is what we should do, and this is what. And again, you can still, as a man, do what you want to do, but you want to do the thing that's going to be right for the people watching. And I'm saying, when I say that, I'm saying the youth, because that's what I'm about. Now, we're raising these children.
But that's the thing, man. Not to go on a tangent, but not to even speak about Draymond specifically. But a lot of these younger guys, they don't respect the voices of the old heads.
Nope.
Or it doesn't seem like they do. And they don't. And yeah, sometimes the old heads may come out a little cranky.
Right.
They may sound bitter, but at the same time, like you mentioned earlier, they paved the way.
Right.
They made much less money.
Yeah.
And you go back generations and generations, these guys were dealing with like racial threats,
of course,
racial violence.
Yes. They used to throw like
lighters,
animals and stuff.
Yeah.
Monkeys, animals on the court, and
I mean, so you can't compare. Like, if those guys are bitter, understandably so, right?
Of course.
Because they paved the way, they made it cool.
Of course.
Right? They made this a cool sport where people of all colors could come and participate, but they didn't get the benefits.
Right.
Right? But at the same time, normally the way of life is as you get older, you ponder upon your earlier mistakes, you ponder on the things that you could have done better.
Absolutely.
And then if you have the right mindset, you try to impart that on the future generation.
Right.
So I think that's what some of these young guys are missing out on it, because when they hear it, all they hear is criticism, but they forget the constructive part, that this is being done for the right reasons.
Right. Yeah. Let's go back to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Whenever you can go back to all the tapes from when he was in North Carolina, from when he started with the Bulls, from when before he was even winning, he always referred back to the Big O, to Dr. J, to what's the guy? Oh man, that's the one Dr. J watched his name followed.
African American?
Yes. Come on, man.
Big man?
Nah, like a glider like Dr. J. Connie Hawkins. Sorry.
Okay.
Connie Hawkins. Yes. Sorry, Connie. But I'm just saying, he always referred back to them. They used to say, hey, you want to be the next Julius Erving? He would say, well, I did watch him growing up as this and that, and I would like to make my own name. But he always referred to them.
There's a famous clip with Michael where they're asking him if he's the best, and he goes, it's not, he can't answer it because he didn't get to play against all the best.
That's what he did say.
And then he talks about the former logo, Jerry West, like I said, he would have loved to play against Jerry West in his prime, this person in their prime, that person in their prime. So, that's as arrogant as people say Michael is, that's actually a very humble thing to say, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So it's never like, he never degraded the ones he looked up to, and he praised the ones that he wanted to be like. That's from Michael, the greatest. So I don't think that in this generation of NBA players that they do that. Nowadays, the ones like the KDs and the ones coming up now are praising Kobe, because they kind of played with Kobe, and I think I still would praise Kobe every day, any day, but I think because of Kobe's death that they pick him.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree with what I'm saying?
Yep.
They don't. Some of them. No, I'm not gonna say I play with Kobe, which is fine. But what I'm saying is, I think if Kobe, was still here, they would be more upfront with things.
I agree.
Do you agree?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I think his death definitely pushed the mention of him as like a GOAT or potential top 3 or top 5 higher. And I'm not, no disrespect.
Right.
Love Kobe.
Me too.
But because of that, I think this is the way that people processed it.
Exactly.
Obviously one of the greatest of our generations.
Of course.
If you look at that era,
right?
It's him, Tim Duncan.
You
look at those years, but so